Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Locks Foundation Disc Golf Weekly Podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner. Back in the studio this week, and we've got quite the show to go over. We're going to start it off with a little Patreon question of the week, go into the Jonesboro Open, the results, lots of storylines from it, even some course design takes from Mr. Staub over on Twitter that we'll figure out where his head's at. We'll go into Trevor's Trivia, Pro Tour point standings, because I found that fascinating. So I figured I might as well tell you guys what I found fascinating. And then we'll wrap it up by updating our power rankings. But first, time to thank our sponsors.
Today's show is brought to you by Double G Craft Jerky. You can see I'm rocking that hat as I do often. Double G Craft Jerky is delicious. They've got lots of yummy flavors such as Hot Boom Sauce, Garlic Lover's Dream, Nate Sexton Sweet and Spicy, my personal favorite Teriyaki. There's a whole bunch. They also give to the Double G Children's Foundation. Every bag sold contributes to the promotion of disc golf to the youth. They've bought discs and baskets for inner city children and donated thousands to families in need of money for events. Also, if you buy any of the McBeast flavors or the McBeast Max Weight bag, portion of that money is donated to the Paul Macbeth Foundation. They offer a 1 ounce bag, a real small one there for players packs, which is a great players pack edition. They also, like I said, sell these hats. You can buy these as well if you like the hats. You can do subscriptions for Double G Jerky if you want to have them. You can do like 3, 6, or 12 months options with as many bags as you'd like if you just want to continually have jerky to snack on during the rounds. So yeah, Double G Jerky, make sure to check it out. You can get 10% off your order with code FOUNDATION. It's delicious and it's a great snack on the course, so make sure to check them out. And thanks for sponsoring the show.
All right, we're going to start the show off with a little Patreon question of the week.
This is exciting because you weren't.
I wasn't on the
this.
mailbag, so I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Although I picked one.
Fire mailbag.
That might be one of the more boring ones, but I think it's an interesting one. So this is from Chris Neal.
No, that's a good question.
If you're interested in joining the Heiser Club, there's actually a free trial going on, 30-day free trial. You can head over to patreon.com/foundation disc golf and get your free trial moving. Figure out if you like what we have to offer, all of the free content, contests, discounts, exclusive store, all that fun stuff, and more constantly being added. You can head over to patreon.com/foundation disc golf and try it risk-free for 30 days. But this Patreon question of the week from Chris Neal said, in your opinion, what are the chances that Gannon stays with Prodigy? I found this one fascinating because I think in January, I believe is when the lawsuit was announced, it would have been a 0% chance. And I would have even said 0% chance that he stays the rest of the year. At this point, I think most people have come to terms, like he's probably not going anywhere this year.
No.
So I'm asking this question, I don't know if Chris Neal was, what are the chances he stays with Prodigy post this year?
I think on the mailbag,
That's how we answered the question, I believe.
I said, yeah, I answered it like I don't think he's going anywhere until the end of the year, and so that's kind of how I answered it. And I think I said like 18% is what I settled on.
18% that he stays. Oh, so you went percentage chance.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't going to attribute like a specific percentage. So I started thinking that way. I was going to be like, I think there's a good chance, or I think there's no chance.
Well, I think 18% because it's a small.
Dang, you're so specific.
You might have said 13.
It's a small, maybe. It's a small chance is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Mine would be up closer to 50.
No, really?
Yeah, well, this is what's going on.
You can't prove it wrong.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, obviously, there's a full opinion take, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's take is going to be an opinion on this because you can only look at outside perception. But the Gannon Burr that started the season, right? And like little tidbits would like slip through, whatever, clearly unhappy with Prodigy. Mm-hmm. The Gannon Burr we see now, I don't see that at all. Well, and what I'm seeing from Prodigy's side is they seem to be checking all the boxes of righting all the wrongs.
Here's my one thing I'll say to you to see if you change your mind is the major reason that I think they can't retain him, forget everything else, is I think the contract that he was going to be offered by somebody like a Discmania, I do not think Prodigy could afford or would be willing to pay.
I disagree. That's where
You think they would give him 10 years, 10 mil?
I don't know. I don't think anyone would give him 10 years, 10 mil. I think Gannon would be dumb to sign a deal that long.
Or $1 million a year? You think?
I think they could. Yeah, because the thing that we always forget is how massive Prodigy is in Europe.
See, they're big,
and they're very.
I don't know if can't afford is the right word. I don't know if willing to do so is more so the thing.
My thing is like obviously this was all started by some company. Well, this is all speculation. But from my perspective, it's pretty obvious that it had to be started by some company offering Gannon a deal that Gannon was like, this is phenomenal. I need to get out of my Prodigy deal right now, trying to find a way out.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of think this all started. I think that's all excitement, and not saying that whoever offered him that deal is going to pull it back or whatever like that happens, but I think that you let a year go through, and Gannon's having a good year. Prodigy's having a good year. And I think like you see like the vlog squad still chilling. They're all happy. I've heard reports of Gannon like going to Prodigy's headquarters, and he seems very happy when he's there. I think that Gannon's very happy with Prodigy. I think at the root of it, Gannon has always loved Prodigy. We know that for a fact. Whenever he would talk about Prodigy, like when he came here and when you hear him talk about it in general, previous to this whole lawsuit thing, he was like the Prodigy spokesperson. He was their golden boy.
He's always been with them. I mean, there's a lot of loyalty there. But
yeah, and I think that what Prodigy essentially has now is a year to earn that loyalty back. And if they do so, I think he's willing to take a lesser deal to stay with Prodigy. I'm not talking he has $1 million on the table and Prodigy's offering him $25,000. But I'm saying if he has $1 million on the table and Prodigy's offering him $700,000, I can see him staying.
$300,000, no way.
I can see it.
It's one thing to talk about pay cuts. We're talking about NBA players that are millionaires, but taking a $300,000, that is such life-changing money. There's if you would have said
$700,000 a year is life-changing money.
$50,000 pay cut is about as high as I would consider.
You got to look at like $50,000 to $100,000. That's a completely different scale. I agree.
No.
Like, but $1 million to $950,000.
No, $1 million to $950,000. I would say
you're
he
on
would take that
you're on a different
cut.
pay scale. You're on a different pay scale now. So like once you get to $1 million, like then the $50,000 that's nothing. $100,000 at $1 million, it's nothing.
It's something when you don't have $1 million in the bank.
But you're getting $900,000 a year in that scenario.
Or $1 million. It's $100K more.
I understand,
These
but
guys aren't rich.
It's on
like,
a scale.
But
$900,000 a year, you're rich.
Yeah, but you could have an extra. The point is, if Heath believes he can win with another company, then what the heck is he taking $100K price cut for?
Because he knows he can win with Prodigy.
I just said if he knows he can win with another company.
He thinks he could win. He doesn't know. He's never thrown another company.
Okay.
He knows he can win with Prodigy.
But I don't know if it's that deep, though.
I would say it's 50-50 shot.
Prodigy doesn't have some mystery disc.
We're in May. I think it's 50-50 shot.
Well, it is 50-50 shot. He either does or he doesn't.
Well, I'm saying percent chances wise. I think it's 50-50.
I mean, there's no way to measure it.
That's what's funny about it.
There's no way to measure it.
That's just where because I think that Prodigy is righting a lot of the wrongs. If you just see what's going on.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And I think that if they right every wrong, and then the time comes around and they offer him a comparable contract.
Do we want to make a bet on it? You said 50-50. It sounds like you'd be willing
50-50.
to.
If the bet's right, I'll make it.
Next season, so let's say.
You know what? If he stays with if he doesn't stay with Prodigy, if he leaves, I'll publish PA3s for the year.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, I offered a bet.
Let's say the deadline is the beginning of Vegas next year. Like if he starts playing Vegas with Prodigy, I have lost the bet.
Yes. Okay.
If that happens,
he's gonna announce a new sponsor like 2 p.m. today.
we might have to think about it. But
no, think about it now. Everybody loves this.
I'm willing to make a bet.
Yeah.
I won't make a crazy bet because I'm not saying it's a 90% chance. But
okay,
everybody loves it because right now you're being like somewhat pressured, and
I'm
we all love
32% more confident than you that he's gonna stay.
Okay,
so just weigh that in on the bet.
Yeah, because he's not 100% confident.
Yeah, I'm 32% more confident than you.
I thought you were 50-50.
Yeah, and you're 18%.
More than me.
So I have 32%.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I don't need to make it evil or anything. Just good fun.
Just good fun.
I don't know. I can't think of one right now. We're gonna have to come back to.
How about this? In February, because wherever Gannon ends up, he's gonna have a signature disc.
Sure.
That signature disc has to be in your bag all year.
That doesn't sound like a punishment.
Well, if he goes, you don't know where he's gonna go.
It's probably going to be a sick disc.
Yeah, but it's just like you got to have that disc in your bag all year.
That doesn't sound like a punishment.
That's a punishment to me. I don't keep any discs in my bag all year.
Well, that is true.
I mean, that's not entertaining for the people. Let's do okay. Let's just make it so it'll be February, the deadline. Most likely this switch will happen in the cold months of the year.
Yeah.
Right? So let's make the punishment a dousing in a bucket of ice water outside in the cold, like bathing suit, like no warm
that's
clothes.
fair.
Okay, fair enough.
So
there it is.
So if he leaves Prodigy, I have to take an ice bath. We'll say what?
No, just dumped ice water on your head in the cold, out in the cold, because it's gonna happen when it's cold.
Yeah. Okay. So we gotta do that.
It's not gonna be fun.
If he leaves Prodigy, I'll do that, and if he stays with Prodigy, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Ice bucket challenge.
Ice bucket challenge.
Bringing it back.
The GB Ice Bucket Challenge. All right, Jonesboro Open just went down.
Yeah, it did.
Very interesting tournament all around. Starting on the FPO side, the results we had Kat Merckx taking down her first Elite Series win ever. I tweeted that. I tweeted, just took down Jonesboro, first Elite Series win ever. Someone responding goes, also her first Pro Tour win. That's not the same thing?
My brother, they're the same thing.
Anyways,
They
Haley
invented
King
Elite
came
Series.
in second. And then Aria Castruda, I believe is how you pronounce her name, third place.
Wow.
She's only like 17.
She was in the lead or contending for the lead for a lot of even that final round. It was back and forth. It was kind of like, as the round progressed, it seemed like Kat, Haley, or Aria were going to win.
Aria.
And then, come hole 11, 12 range probably is when it was clearly Kat or Haley. And they end up going to a playoff. First playoff hole was hole 10. And Kat took it down there in the playoff with a par. Haley King ran her birdie putt, went very far deep.
She did not run her birdie.
She ran her par putt.
She tried to scramble and then ran the putt.
Ran her par putt and went very far deep.
Yeah.
And then ended up taking it has her down for a 5. I don't even know. Did she actually finish out?
I don't even know.
I don't think she even finished out.
She after she threw into the woods and didn't quite like get close to the basket from there, like that was where she lost the tournament. She had to run that putt, missed it, and that was it. It was over at that point.
Yeah.
Because Kat just had to lay up.
But anyways, Kat lays up, taps out, wins her first tournament. Very emotional post-win. You can tell how much it meant to her to get that win off her chest. Because, I mean, this has been a storyline that's been building. She's still a young player.
She's trending up this year.
This isn't like, she's a late in her career, never had a win type moment. But it's a player who has had chances before and was finally able to capitalize one. And it wasn't like it was a wounded field. If you look at the top 5, you might think so.
Yeah.
But Katrina Allen and Kristen Tatar were there. They were just both outside the top 5. So let's not look over how great the performance from Kat Merckx, Haley, and Aria was. Phenomenal performance all around. I think especially Kat had a really solid round 2. I think Haley had a solid, Kat and Haley went 10-11 round 1. And then Haley struggled round 2 at only a 3 under. I think one of those strokes actually even included her playing from the wrong lie.
So
that's
which
something
effectively
to
lost
about.
to the tournament.
In a roundabout way. It happened during round 2. It would have been a lot bigger of a storyline had it happened during round 3. And then round 3, Haley shoots 8, Kat shoots 5 to get into the playoff. But great play all weekend. And Kat was able to take it down. Haley had some putts down the stretch that made you think, like specifically the one I'm thinking about is her 50-footer on hole 15, I believe. But she had some putts down the stretch where, like, in my opinion, I was watching them both play and I was thinking Haley King won this thing. Like, it's over.
Yeah, Haley King's game. What I've decided about Haley King is 2 things. Number 1, when her putt is on, man, like her circle 2, like C1X edge to C2 putting looks so good. She looks so confident. And when that putt is on, man, she really has a nice putt. And then the other thing about Haley King that I've decided is when you have a course that allows for a lot of hyzer forehands, that is probably the best part of her game. She was throwing hyzer forehands all over the place, and she pushes them really well. Like, she gets really good power on them and just plays the ground really nicely. So that was like why she was tearing that course up, I think. I was like really thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, this is the Haley King that we've kind of all thought that she always was. And like we see this like a few times every year where it's like, oh my gosh, Haley King, like how is she not the best player in the world? She looks so good. And then she lost down the stretch. She really had to kind of just like, after that bad second round, she had to play from behind and did pretty well in round 3. And then that playoff hole, which I didn't love the playoff hole because like nobody was really doing so well in that hole. They had to play it because the men were already teeing off, but both of them throw effectively bad shots. Haley's actually went further and right, and that's why she was in jail, whereas Kat kind of like almost grounded hers earlier and more left, so she just had an upshot, which is totally fair. But I definitely thought, Haley squandered it in the playoff and could have deserved a win out there, but that second round is what it comes down to. I mean, if she plays anything close to the other two in round 2, then and in better conditions than round 3, that's what's really shocking. That's where she ultimately couldn't get it done, because that round 1, man, she went ballistic.
Yeah, Haley very much looks like a winner. If you watch her play at any moment, you just assume that she's
incredibly athletic.
Yeah,
her putting form and how it comes out of her hand. Like if you just watch,
so good.
If you don't watch, now this is what I'm about to say makes my statement sound bad, but it's not as bad as it sounds. But like if you don't watch where the putt goes, so like you don't know whether she makes it or not. You just watch her release.
She throws a good putt.
She looks like the best putter on the face of the planet.
Which is very important.
She dropped a line. She dropped a line the other day. She said for like the first 3 or 4 years or some crazy amount of years that she was playing that she practice putted like 7 days a week for like 3 hours. And I was like, if that's true, that's ridiculous. But it does, like, she does have that kind of release where you can tell it's very rehearsed because she gets very consistent. Every putt looks exactly the same from her, it seems like, but she's not super accurate. Like, when it's on, though, it's on.
Yeah.
What did she end up doing, C2?
Her Circle 2 putting was only 22% for the weekend.
That's not bad, though.
Circle 1X putting, her and Kat Mertsch were tied at 82%.
That's pretty good.
So what's interesting is they were basically dead tied, gain tee to green. Kat Mertsch had her by 0.2. Haley gained a whole stroke on her putting overall, mainly on gain C2. But the storyline for how Kat Mertsch ended up winning this thing overall obviously was in a playoff, but the way their game got there in the playoff actually was very telling of what happened in the playoff. The biggest stat difference, the biggest stat gap for them was their scramble percentage. Kat Mertsch, 88% scramble. Haley King, only 33%. And what ended up happening in the playoff is got off the fairway, didn't get up and down. But everything else, like, they were pretty even across the board stat line-wise, which makes sense. They made it to a playoff. The only other thing that was notably separating them was Haley had 3 more OB strokes than Kat. So that's where it kind of comes down. But the biggest tell of the event was the scramble percentage. Kat was just able to make things happen when she wasn't in position, and Haley wasn't, and that's what ended up costing her in the playoff. Now, score-wise, like I said, Katrina Allen and Kristen Tatar, both at this event. Katrina Allen, notably, this course, I think, plays to her game.
What even is her game anymore?
That's the question, isn't it? Because she ended up only shooting 10 under, so she lost by 12 strokes. She finished outside the top 10 in 11th place. I
don't even know what to think anymore.
And she just wasn't there.
We had one constant in this FPO field, and that was Kristen, and now she's gone.
So looking at Katrina Allen, big storyline, 8 OB throws, which this course is like,
there's not
there.
that much
There
OB.
is OB, but it's very easy to avoid.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on with Katrina Allen out there. I also don't know what was going on with Kristen Tatar. Kristen Tatar did have a flight out today to go back to Europe. And so that, could definitely be weighing on her of like just won a major that she's been thinking about for a year, kind of mentally checked out.
What I saw with Kristen was, and we'll get to this more as we move on in this show, but on a course like this that is softer, and yes, it played softer the first 2 days, Kristen's game gets exposed a little bit because a lot of the things she does so well have to do with difficult courses. I firmly believe the harder the course, the better Kristen does. Like, the more she separates herself from the field. And when you have a course like this where it is less of a don't make bogey course and more of a you have to make birdie course, and like everybody's just kind of taking pars in between, or at least the players that are playing well, I don't think she excels as much on a course like that.
You don't think she's a great aggressive player?
No, and some of it has to do with she's not a huge distance thrower.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And being able to throw far on this course made some of those par 4s laughably easy. And even like that one par 5 that Kristen, literally, if you threw 2 just decent shots on this one par 5, I wish I could remember which hole it was.
Hole 9?
I think it was hole 9. If you threw 2 decent shots on that hole, you were chipping up and down for birdie. Chipping. You could get eagle looks on that hole. And she throws an awful drive, turfs a forehand, she was just making silly mistakes out there, and just ended up just basically just chipping up and down for par most of that final round, because she absolutely could have made a push. And she started off 3 for 3. And her putt still looked fine, but yeah, I don't know if that course is, a few times a year we play a course that sets up a little bit softer. The scoring separation looks a little bit different because it's more of a par birdie situation than you're not seeing people take humongous numbers because there's not a ton of OB. And I think Kristen doesn't have as much ability to separate on a course like this. And not to say, that's a flaw in her game. She lost fair and square, but I think that was what it comes down to is, she doesn't bomb shots all over the place. And I don't know, throwing her game, I don't feel is throwing open hyzer flip, to turn drive backhands. I don't know. It's just not quite her game. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I'm confused heavily by FPO if you can't figure it out. I'm my brain's in. No.
Well, I think what's tough is over the years, we've had a very constant, consistent FPO. which is Paige, Katrina Allen, and then enter Kristen
Tatar. Where did
Tatar.
Kristen rank in C1 and C2 in reg? I'm actually curious. I feel like that would be the stat that would tell me something.
Kristen Tatar, play it again. So her worst. This is
that. What was her worst stat?
This
scrambling.
No, her worst stat in relation was C1X putting at 64%.
So her putt was a little bit off.
Her putt was off. C1 in regulation, she was second. C2 in regulation, she was sixth. Birdie percentage, she was second. Scramble percentage, she was also tied with Haley King in 19th.
Although I do think
that's it.
Being 7th and 6th in the FPO field when you're Kristen is notable.
It's notable, but being 25th and 19th is a lot more notable.
Yeah. Well, you know where I think that 25th in C1X comes from? I feel like a lot of the putts I saw from her were because she was landing at 28, 29, 30 feet. And that isn't really a stat at this point, but there's a huge difference between your C1X putting just getting juiced up from the closer end of that and being Circle's Edge all day. And I feel like I saw her a lot at Circle's Edge.
It was definitely a head scratcher event because, like you were saying, this probably course didn't play that well. Yada yada yada. The dominance we've seen from Kristen Tatar, she was 4 strokes out of podium.
Yeah,
you should 7 strokes out of the lead. She should still have been in it. And, she took 2 double bogeys down the stretch on 15 and 16. That's the difference between her being in 3rd and her being in 6th. Yeah. But disappointing weekend all around for Kristen Tatar. Her hottest round was 6 under round 2. If she averaged that all 3 rounds, her best round out there, she still would have been 4 strokes shy. So just didn't play the course well, just didn't have a good weekend, finished in 6th. And I don't know, it was disappointing.
She's mortal.
Yeah, it was a head scratcher for sure. But like I was saying with FPOs, I think up to this point we've always had consistent players. We've always had the Paige Pierce, Katrina Allen, Kristen Tatar, 3-headed monster, or before that the 2-headed monster of Paige and Kat.
Yeah.
We don't have any of them at some events like this. Right now, this year, it's Kristen or bust.
Yeah.
We're not seeing. Yes, I understand Paige and Kat have wins. I understand Kat had a win at the beginning of the season. Day in, day out, normal tournaments, we're not seeing Paige and Kat in contention. Paige, we don't even know when she'll be back from her injury. But we at least had Kristen. If Kristen doesn't show up, then now the FPO field looks like the MPO field where you don't know who's going to win because this also is a course. Evelina Salonen had an incredible final round at 10 under. Had she had one other solid round, she's in it. Ella Hansen, this course could have played well for her. She struggled. Holland Hanley, I think this course could have played well for her. She ended in 4th.
She just can't putt.
There's a lot of players that this could have been their weekend, but Kat Merch, it happened to be hers.
I will say this is the example. If you watch FPO a lot, this is the example of the course where there's the 2 sides to MPO disc golf. If we play at courses that are super tough, Kristen wins probably 95% of the time. If we play courses like this that are a little softer, a little more open, you get, in my opinion, arguably a more entertaining finish. You get more FPO players in the mix. You get different ones in the mix, and you get a lot more people in the mix going into the last round. That is something we've seen at U.S. women's, when they've played at softer courses before. So the question you have to ask yourself is, which do we prefer? Do we want to see maybe what's more fair to the best players, or do we want to see what's going to make the most interesting product? And I don't know. I don't know the answer.
But you can ask the same about the MPO field because the harder the course, to a certain extent, but the line's different. But
the difference in the MPO field, though, is the best player in the world still wins.
Typically, yes. Now, this weekend, we had Calvin Heimberg take it down, and then we had a 3-way tie for second between Ben Calloway, Isaac Robinson, and Eagle McMahon. First off, I'm going to say Calvin Heimberg proved us right again. Aggressive play pays off.
Boom.
Got him.
Because even, I think it was hole 15, Nate Doss, before I say what I'm about to say, Nate Doss has won a heck of a lot more than I ever will, including world championships.
He was begging him not to run that putt.
But he views the game completely differently than me.
Yeah.
Calvin Heimberg steps up to this putt. Wind is down. Sure, it's an elevated basket. Eagle McMahon laid up in front of him. So this is Calvin's chance to kind of start running away with this thing. And in my opinion,
I wouldn't run away with it. It was a tie, but to flip the
completely
flip the momentum.
I'm a big momentum player. Brody doesn't believe in momentum. Brody thinks momentum doesn't exist. I disagree.
The difference between him laying up and him banging that and tying it up into the net, it's huge shift. A huge shift.
And so, anyways, Eagle lays up. Calvin steps up. Nate Doss is begging him to lay up. Yeah. I'm begging him, run this thing. And Calvin ran it, clanked, rolled away, and he rolled away to a spot where okay, now take your medicine, lay up. You don't want to turn this into it worse. So he takes a 4.
Oh, you're talking about the first one.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
From there, you then have 16. Calvin again, Eagle. They're both like next to each other. Calvin was like probably 40 feet in a better position, but linearly. So they were about the same distance. Eagle doesn't throw a good shot before Calvin got to throw. Not a good shot. He's in the woods. Can he get up and down for birdie? Yes, but it's question mark at this point. Calvin could have laid up and guaranteed his birdie. No, balls to the wall. The dude throws huge anti-flex shot, gets himself to like 40-foot death putt for Eagle.
Yeah.
Eagle steps up, throws an insanely good standstill patent pending scramble to get himself to a birdie putt. And then Calvin steps up again, Mr. Doss. I disagree with him, begging him to lay up. Don't understand why. Calvin shuts him up, puts it in the heart of the chain for Eagle.
Admittedly, it's the ultimate question of, if Calvin misses that putt, there's a good chance he goes OB and he probably loses the tournament. But you have to tell yourself, I can make this putt. It's a 40-footer downhill. Wind was down at this point. There's a great chance I at least hit metal. I'm one of the best putters in the world. And if I make this putt, I'm flipping this thing on its head. And like, there's just a difference between some people are willing to do that, some people aren't. And I will say, admittedly, so far this year, the aggressive play has been the one that works because he ran it, which was horrifying, and banged that putt.
Well,
it was
the thing
crazy.
Is, in my opinion, and I just think like the more golf I watch, this is just where I line up. Is I think you always want to be the player that's in control.
The guy running with a full head of steam straight at you is the one. You got to be running downhill.
Could Calvin have missed that? Yes, but he's losing at his own hand. If you keep laying up and keep asking people to beat you, people are too good. They're going to beat you.
Because if Calvin lays that up, he's still down, which means Eagle controls the rest of the round. He can birdie out and beat you. Whereas if you tie it, now you can play right along with him. But if you
and by making that putt, Calvin is now the one on the tee putting the pressure on, which I think is also a crucial spot.
Yeah.
I think it's also very important to be the player in the driver's seat where you're the one lacing the fairway with pressure on you, but you don't have the pressure of the person you're chasing just did it.
Yeah, it was
You're
sick.
the person that just did it.
It
so
was
then
sick.
You see it come down 17, 18. 17, they both go par. 18, Calvin throws a good shot. Eagle tries to go up and over, goes OB, and then props to Eagle. He said, screw solo second. I'm being aggressive to try to win this thing. Ends up bringing in a three-way tie for second. He took a 7.
I was really hoping he was going to, I don't think he had anything, but when he took it off of OB, I was like, please try to throw over the top of that with a backhand. Like, it would have been incredible.
Yeah.
But, he tried his best.
Yeah, but here's the thing that Calvin Heimberg, best player in the world, bar none, period. In discussion.
He's so good.
He's filthy. He's disgusting this year.
Second player ever to win the same Elite Series 3 times next to Ricky at Ledgestone.
Not Elite. Wow. I think Pro Tour. Not Elite
Did we
Series.
not just say that that's the same thing?
Nah, well, now it is. But if all-time Elite, you bring in National Tours.
No, they were just called NTs. They were NT.
But that was Elite event.
No, they were ES
There was
and
a
NT
year where
different.
NTs were Elite Series.
I think
where they both were coexisting.
But I think it said Elite Series on the cover. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's Pro Tour.
It doesn't
Paul's
matter.
won Elite. Yeah, pretty sure it's Pro Tour event. But him and Ricky are the
But if they
two.
only made them Elite Series for 1 year, you couldn't have won it 3 times in 1 year. So
no, but it brings in events.
But if it wasn't an Elite Series a year that you won it, it doesn't count as an Elite Series ever.
When people talk Elite Series, like they still mention NTs with it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're right. It
It's a Pro Tour.
It literally doesn't. Yeah, it literally doesn't matter.
Only person to do it 3 times. But when you say Pro Tour event, it brings in when Pro Tours were A tiers.
Also true.
Which is important.
That is important.
Because there were times where Pro Tours weren't NTs or Elite Series.
That is true.
Gosh,
we have way too many classifications.
Yeah, Pro Tour event, which is all it should be mentioned from here on out.
Ricky
we never call him Elite Series.
Doesn't Ricky share one of his Ledgestone wins with Calvin? So come on, Big Dog Calvin actually the champ.
Now I don't know if that's factored into the thing.
I'm factoring it in.
But I don't know if Ricky has 4 wins with one of them being a half win or
no
3
way,
wins.
dude. No,
I don't know.
Those dirty. Also, I have to mention, I almost barfed. We talk all the time about how ratings have finally been like eradicated, and then they throw up a whole graphic of highest rated FPO rounds all time.
I saw that.
I was like, come on, guys.
Well, there was also so much talk, which there should have been so much talk about James Conrad, round 2, 17 under par at Jonesboro. Insane round.
Yeah.
And he hit a 40-footer on 18 to do it.
Oh, that's
which was insane
sick
too.
Round, dude.
But immediately the talk goes to ratings on coverage. Immediately, like, this has to be 1,100, right? It's got to be 1,100.
People are still obsessed with him.
Who the frick cares what the rating was? The guy shot 17 under. That's the stat. He shot 17 under at a hard course. You know what it was? 3 strokes worse than 17 under at an easy course. That's why ratings are dumb. That's why ratings are so dumb. That 17 under at Jonesboro rated the exact same as 14 under at Fountain Hill. 14 under at Fountain Hill is the same rating as 17 under at Jonesboro.
Yeah. It's
like, are you kidding me? Like, that's point, case, done. Close the book. Ratings suck. Ratings are stupid.
Close the book.
Close the book.
Ratings belong for AMs. And then once you get to the Pro Tour, first off, Pro Tour, who even cares? They're PDJ sanctioned. First off, I'll say that. Second off, if we want to have ratings for pros, just make them 1,000 plus. That way you can still have your, like, you know, different rating tier things for registration, which I think is very dumb. I don't think that should exist either.
You see,
Statmando
in their like stat zone has started tracking. They have a tracker for 2024 tour card qualifiers. So now you can like look in there and see who's not in there. It's kind of
because the other thing, that argument, while we're on our rating soapbox, the other argument that's very dumb for ratings is, I think that most people that have watched enough disc golf would agree that 17 under at Fountain Hill isn't the best round of all time. I would put it, here's my list of best rounds, and I'll throw James Conrad's in here so you know where it ranks in my opinion. I think the greatest round of all time, period, is 18 under at D-Glow on Toboggan. I think that's Paul McBeth, 18 under D-Glow,
I'd have to agree.
Number 1. I think number 2 can be argued a little bit. It's either the 18 under at Waco, but that was before the course change par happens. That's closer at 15 under. So it could be his, I believe it was 14 or 15 under at MVP. I think that can be thrown in there. Also, Paul. I think I'm going to go W.R. Jackson 16 under as number 2. I think I would go Paul's MVP Open round as number 3. Joel Freeman's round at Pittsburgh, Steel City, I believe it was, has to be thrown in here somewhere.
And what were Eagle and Paul shooting at European Open last year? Some of those rounds
Some of those were outrageous too. But I think it goes Paul, 1, 2, 3. You could. This is where you could start to make an argument for James Conrad over Paul's Waco performance, I think. So we'll just go recency bias and go James Conrad's.
That Joel Freeman round was
Jonesboro
crazy too.
Open.
We just don't have any precedent for it, but that Joel Freeman round was nuts.
We'll go. This is what we'll do, because we got Paul in 3 out of the top 5.
Yeah.
We don't be selfish, Paul. You don't need 4 out of the top 5.
Yeah.
Let's just go Paul. 3. So we'll go Paul.
That's very generous of him.
And then we'll go Conrad 4, Joel Freeman 5. Those are my top 5 all time. Notice what's not on that list. The highest rated round of all time.
Dang.
Yeah, it's not.
Because it doesn't belong there.
You know what? I agree with you, Hunter.
Yeah, ratings. I hated that argument. People were like, yeah, it's going to be 1,100. Give me 1,100. Go back a few years, and like 1,100 was still rare, but it was a lot easier to find.
Close the book.
Because you had, like, nowadays, we really believe that the field is worse, much worse. A few years later.
Way worse now.
Like, Paul was 1062 rated just a few years back. You think Paul was 2 strokes better than he is now?
Don't forget that COVID inflation, man.
Crazy stuff. Anyways, James Conrad actually got himself into conversation with that 17 under for a little bit there. He struggled, only shot 1 under the final round, so he lost when it was all said and done. But there was a time going into the final round where he was one of the players in contention.
He shot 17 under and then 1 under?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was windier the final day.
The wind picked up.
The course defense.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the defense of the course.
The course's teeth came out. Eagle McMahon, though, one thing I was noticing is, especially in this final round, and I think this is back-to-back weekends I can say this, he doesn't look sharp. He doesn't look fully refined. Like, there are parts of his game where he still looks like he's slipping up, like he's just not all there yet. Yeah, this is back-to-back weekends that he's coming second place.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's kind of upsetting, like the version of Eagle we're seeing, because I think we can all know that if he was at full capacity right now, he would be on a Calvin level like every week, I feel like. We don't know when he'll get the forehand back to its capacity, or if he ever will, or what's going to happen.
The forehand, though, was like at least functional this weekend.
It was functional. I think he's going to be dangerous this year, and he's going to win at least once or twice, I would think, because he's still just super talented, and his arm is just insane. Like, that's the thing about a course like this. I mean, he can, obviously it got him in trouble on 18 the final day, but he can just rip over top of stuff. I mean, the backdoor hyzer he threw might have, I forget when it was later in that round, but like every time he threw a line on that course, they were like, where did he even just throw that? Like, they were so confused. Like,
there were several times where like the catch cam was just like panning in the fairway. Like, I don't know. Like, one time they threw it to Brian. They're like, Brian, you see that? And
Yeah.
Brian goes, no, not a clue. No idea where that went.
Yeah.
Because he was just chucking over. And it's not some courses like Day Law. Like, yeah, it makes sense when players go up over trees because the trees are, 10 feet tall, it looks like.
Yeah, these are big
These are
trees.
fully mature trees. And he's throwing like 475-foot spike hyzers over them.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But yeah, Eagle McMahon, I definitely expect to see a few wins out of him this year. And you know what? Isaac Robinson. Personally, I don't think this course was super Isaac Robinson friendly, but it wasn't obviously against Isaac Robinson's favor. Followed up his major championship win with a second place out here.
Yeah, he's got some momentum. He's going to be around this year. He's going to be around.
Okay, now let's scroll down and look at some storylines. First one to point out, Gannon Buhr finished inside top 10, but in 10th place. A little disappointing. I felt this course would have played very well to Gannon's strengths.
He just never really got
Struggled
it
a little
going.
bit.
I'm really starting to agree and with like his own take that if he does not really put himself in a good spot round one, he kind of just ends up finishing around like, between 5 and 15. It's so important for him to get like hot or close to hot round one because he loses. He just never like gets it going. He's not the guy that's like, oh, round 2 or round 3, he really popped off. And that's
It's
his
not
own,
like Sunday Dickerson.
Yeah, that's his own take. He says like it's hard for him to focus if he's not like right in it. But I'm really finding that to be true with him.
Yeah. Paul Macbeth continues his slow start, 15th
Especially
this
Silas
weekend.
Schultz over there, dude. Silas Schultz is quickly proving that he might be for real.
Yeah, Silas Schultz finished in 13th, which is a very impressive performance following that.
He's playing some excellent golf.
AB, I thought this course could have played very well for.
Probably didn't putt.
Ended up only shooting 22 under. Simon Lazada, similar story. Thought this course could
That
have played
one
very
really
well for him.
surprises me. Yeah,
Finished tied for 23rd.
Simon didn't do anything.
And then if we keep on scrolling, Kevin Jonesboro. This is normally his tournament. I think this is the tournament that like if Kevin Jones.
This is
the one I expect Kevin to win.
If you had to bet money on him to win a tournament all year,
This is the one
it
you
would be
pick.
This one.
Missed cash. Well, he might have tied for last cash, actually, it looks like. 44th place, 15 under par for the weekend. Very depressing performance out of him. I think that's kind of where we'll stop scrolling at that, because I think that was the last big one. I mean, there's some other players that you're surprised to see how far down they were. But, yeah, very interesting weekend out at Jonesboro. Some very impressive performance at the top. And then some players were struggling out there. Now, this is back-to-back weeks that I think we've come into courses that have previously played extremely well for the tour, and for different reasons, but I think the same root reason.
Mm-hmm.
I think the field seems to have outgrown. I think, in my opinion, I think the field has somewhat outgrown this course, and I think the field has somewhat outgrown W.R. Jackson.
I'm really glad you said that because
of last week.
You were being kind of cagey last night, and I was like, Hunter is totally going to take the other side. He's an entertainer. We're going to get into a fight tomorrow.
Oh, my the wind.
Well, then I texted you about it, and you kind of just like, yeah, it's an interesting train of thought. And I was like, oh, no. So I came in here fully prepared to be like extra civil because I was like, I need to make sure I don't get Hunter like ready to counterattack me.
I brought up, I pulled up my Twitter because the commentary team was very defensive on this course.
I've organized points.
The commentary team was very defensive on this course because the course played soft. I mean,
I've organized
opening. We saw 17 under, but we saw like the leaders were able to shoot like what was it, back-to-back 13 unders. I believe. I think both Eagle and Calvin went 13-13. The previous course record was 14. James Conrad went 17. The course was getting shredded.
People were torching it.
Why was the course getting shredded? The wind was down. And
Which
so
nobody denied that.
Yeah, the course was getting shredded because the wind.
The commentators were denying that either. They were, literally the first thing that got me, I had already kind of developed this opinion of like, man, I think the wind is the only course. Because let me start with this. That course is gorgeous. It looks fantastic. And that property is not outgrown. You can do things to that property. It's fantastic. And I think Jonesboro has some of the best holes on tour. And then there's just some in between, like 320-foot hyzers that it's like, what are we doing? I think for the FP it was 270. And with like no trouble. And so that is not the problem. And also, we judge these courses not on the public playing them because I would love to play that course. It looks fantastic. It looks like a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We have to judge it at the highest level because the commentary made a comment that got me like stirred up what was already kind of inside of me a little bit. And Doss basically said, or Sexton, kind of all of them were hopping on the same train being like, he said, for those of you who said the course was too soft days 1 and 2, I forgive you because clearly it's not. And then Doss goes, I think it was Doss, was like, he's like, yeah, you can't be judging the course based on perfect conditions and the best in the world playing it. And I was like, then what the heck are we judging it on? For? I literally said, I tweeted, I was like, are we supposed to be judging courses on how they play in bad conditions? Yeah. And also, certainly we have to judge them on how the best in the world play them, because guess where the tour is?
Yeah, that's what you're designing them for.
Yeah, that's the point. And so then I tweeted that.
I would say that definitely seems like a very silly argument in favor of the course.
Main counter argument. There's a few things to this, and the main counter argument that everybody was kind of bringing up that didn't agree was, listen, it is literally windy there 90% of the time. Like, this almost never happens where this course is played in no wind. Okay. Like, you have to design, they said you have to design a course that can be fun and entertaining both with the wind and without. And my counterpoint to that is, so their point is, yes, the wind can be the only defense of a course, because if it's windy 90% of the time, how can you design a course that, like, they were being very extreme. They were like, if you design this course to play tough with no wind, then with the wind, they would shoot plus 20. And I'm like, okay, guys, let's all calm down. So here's my counterpoints to that. Number one counterpoint. One of the things in disc golf that we talk about all the time is eliminating how many unpredictable variables are in the game.
Yeah.
We talk about this with baskets a lot, like changing of baskets. Why would we not eliminate that?
Baskets sucked this weekend.
Right. Oh, they were bad. One of the most unpredictable variables that we talk about and dislike is morning to afternoon tee times differences is wind. If your course's only defense is wind, you amplify that. You amplify that big time. You're taking that effect that people already all don't like, and the players especially, and you amplify that. Number two, this is the biggest one. This is the main point here, is people's idea of what scoring separation is misconstrued. And also people's idea of what disc golf needs to have, like, people shooting is different than what I would think. Because people's idea is that, scoring separation comes from people making, like, they were like, oh, well, some of the best players were only shooting a few under. But if you look at their scorecard, like, I think Eagle took like 2 holes where he was over par. And most of what windy disc golf actually promotes when there's no OB is drives that aren't that great, chip layups, and tap outs for par. Or drives to like 40 footers, can't run it because it's windy, layups, and par. That is not scoring separation. Scoring separation comes from more trouble, a lot of times in the form of OB, to where guys can take birdies and then just as easily can make one little mistake and take a bogey or a double. You got to have a range of scores that people can take. I saw a lot on the top end of the field that we should be catering to. I saw a lot of just par birdie play out there. And then the other thing is, disc golf is, because it's always been this way, is very hooked on the idea that the hot rounds should be coming in. If it's not double digits, it's almost absurd to them. Like, that is exciting disc golf to them is a ton of birdies, which I would argue that exciting disc golf doesn't have to be guys shooting 16 under par, because what happens is, if you have a difficult course where birdies are harder to come by, the birdies themselves become more exciting. Pars become good. It's all relative. So, like, the hot round coming in, like, let's say you design a course where no wind, guys shoot, let's just say, like, hot rounds coming in at 10 under, nothing crazy. Whereas with wind, guys are coming in at 2 under. In my mind, that's not an issue. That 2 under round was still a great round that day. So those are my main points for that. I think the wind being the only defense has too many flaws, and I think it can be done in a way that caters both ways. Hunter?
Yeah, I mean, so I quote tweeted Trevor, and I didn't put my opinion in there. I just asked people, like, what do you think? Should weather be one of the things? And you know, I had several pros responding, one of them being Zach Melton saying it's always windy in Jonesboro. We never get to play it in conditions from day 1 and 2. I think it's a fair point for this tournament. And I think that when you're designing a course in Emporia, Kansas, when you're designing a course at Jonesboro, wind should be a factor in your mind, but it shouldn't be, like, in this case, a lot of the holes, if it's not windy, it's birdie or die course. A lot of the holes. It's not a birdie or die course as a whole. But, I mean, when you have guys go 13-13 to lead the tournament, you have a player shooting 17 under, then the wind picks up the final day, and it's not like the scores just disappeared and now it's the hardest course on tour. You still had multiple guys shooting 8, 9, 7 under. We had Ben Callaway, Trayvon Crowe, both shoot 9 under. Isaac Robinson, Ezra Aderhole, both shoot 8.
It was still scoreable.
Andrew Presnell, Thomas Gilbert, Adrian Chevalier, I don't even know who he is, 7 under. you had guys still shooting 7, 8, 9 under out there, and Ben Callaway's 9 under with 2 bogeys. So double digits is still attainable out there in crazy wind. So it's not like this course all of a sudden gets crazy hard. You just had the top guys who were leading the tournament struggled a little bit the final day. But I think that how you do it is like, yes, you factor wind in the back of your mind. You don't make a course, if it's a place like Jonesboro where it's always windy, you don't make a course at perfect conditions shooting 2 under is the hot round.
No.
Obviously not. Because then, wind picks up, you're going to have 5 over and bogey.
We're just saying it's a little out of balance.
But you can't, I don't think
it's as simple as like, hey, next year, let's take a couple holes and add a little more OB and see what it does.
That's the thing.
It's so easy.
That's why I was saying W.R. Jackson and this course, I think were exposed back-to-back weekends for slightly different reasons. This course was exposed because less wind. W.R. Jackson was just exposed because, gosh darn, this field's good. But both of them were, I think, the similar root problem. Not enough OB. Yeah. When you have courses like this, you can get creative. You can push holes longer, stuff like that. But what really separates, especially the top end of the field, is like this course, you saw it on hole 18 was one of the best examples, right? Eagle McMahon tried to go up over, and he ended in the right rough. OB ends up taking a 7, right? That isn't happening 95% of the time on this course. A lot of times, if you're in the rough, it's like, okay, that kind of sucks a little bit, but you can still scramble. Or there were some times where you could be like, almost a fairway over, and you're just, okay, you got a little tall grass to deal with. But if there's a lot of OB, then those mistakes, which they are mistakes, that's the key. It's not like these guys are throwing perfect shots and I'm saying they need to be OB. Mistakes are now punished to where if you throw a good drive, you have an easy up and down, you take your birdie. You mess up, you're now OB. You have to have not a stress-free par. You're thinking about a bogey. So these swings happen a lot more, and it helps the top of the field rise to the occasion, and it helps the players who are really hot that weekend finish and win, and it also helps there be a lot more exciting golf down the stretch. Because what could have happened, this tournament was exciting down the stretch. What easily could have happened is down the stretch, I think what this course's redeeming grace is hole 14, 16, 17, and 18. I think I have those holes right.
Luckily, it has some really good finishes.
They're all tough down the stretch.
Yeah.
If you have those holes anywhere else on the course and you copy and paste some of the other holes towards the end, you could have the most boring finish of all time.
Yeah.
And the thing that really helps this course is when the wind kicks up, but you can't just rely on the wind, which I think this course relies too much on the wind is what it all is.
I think that, let me give a good example. Hole 10. Hole 10 is a tough par 3. Every single player on lead card for MPO turned theirs over into the woods short right of the basket, and all the commentary teams started freaking out about how they were all in trouble. And then you got to them, and it was an easy pitch up out of the woods, and they all took par. It wasn't a big deal at all. That needs that's an area. Okay, players consistently miss here. Let's make this an out of bounds staked area. It'll make the hole more interesting, more difficult, and it's not like it's going to delay anybody because we're not playing stroke and distance.
It's actually make it faster.
Yeah, it'll actually make it faster. It'll take less time thinking about how they're going to have to scramble out of the woods. So that's the type of thing that I want to. And people, I understand. People get passionate because people love this course, and I think it's a phenomenal course. It just needs a few tweaks because, we started tweeting about it and people were like, I'd like to see you go out there and play it and see if you say it's soft. That's not what I'm talking about. Come on now.
That was the other thing is there's multiple times that they were talking about the course average every day. This course is rated, 98th in the top 100 or something like that. And they were saying, well, probably day to day, there's a lot more tall grass and blah, blah, blah. Whenever I talk about a course, I'm talking about the tour rolls in.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I could probably play there and think it's my favorite course ever.
Well, I don't care if the course that if I go to Jonesboro and I play it and the ropes aren't up because it's not a tour weekend, who gives a rip? I don't care if I play with OB or not. You go to Winthrop Gold, you play the late course.
Yeah.
Rope's not up. Mm-hmm. Way easier course. But when the tour comes into town, the teeth got to come out. Yeah. And you can't be like, oh, hey, can we push the tour back a week? It's only going to be 5 mile an hour. This course is going to get shredded this week. That doesn't work. You gotta build the course for the tour.
When I used to work I worked at a golf course in high school that was the number one public course, or was a semi-private in Pennsylvania. It was a very nice course, and so they were able to hold a pretty good pro event at one year. It wasn't like a PGA Tour, but it was a pretty good pro event. And what they did for that event specifically, and this happens a lot on the Pro Tour, I'm not saying it doesn't, was they didn't cut the long grass. They let it grow. They actually brought the fairways in a little bit, and they made like new tees. They brought tees back. They put in some new tees. Like they made the pins harder. Like there are just a lot of courses we're finding out that you can't judge on your day-to-day Joe Schmoes. Like when the tour, and there's a 1-year adjustment period. Like this happened this year. All right, let's make an adjustment. We don't expect them to get it right every time because like when the tour rolls into town.
Oh no, last year this course played 26 under, won it. This year.
Well, it was windy all year last year.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
But like,
you can't. The course doesn't get exposed until the wind's down.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, like, they've learned now. I'd like to see a few tweaks, and it doesn't have to be dramatic. This course, we are not calling for this course to be eradicated from tour because I think this property looks as good as any of them on tour. Like, it looks really nice. It looks very nicely manicured, and I like the course overall.
And the coverage seemed like the coverage as far as cell coverage seemed to be great out there.
So, all I want to see is just a little bit more OB, maybe change a few pins and tees, and then we'd be fine.
All right.
People were just getting they were getting worked up about that.
So there you have it. Trevor hates the course, and he thinks that everyone's hard work at Jonesboro is for nothing. Let's go into Trevor's trivia.
That is my
fan
favorite
segment.
Thank goodness you agree with me, man. It's good for Hunter to be back. I was expected for Hunter to get back from vacation, and him and I just scratch at each other the first time back.
If I had known that, I mean, I could have come up with the win take.
I know. Well, that's why my original plan was to go into it and like I'm just going to present my facts. You can counter. I'm not going to get worked up because I thought you were doing that because you've done that before. And you're going to do one of those things. I was going to be like, I was going to start being like, Hunter, I know after this is done, you're going to like say you agree with me. And you'd be like, no, I'm not. And then afterwards you would have done it anyways. And I would have like taggled you anyways.
No, I can't throw my reputation out the window over wind.
Thank goodness, dude. I mean, it was a dogfight on Twitter last night. Brody tweeted something about it.
That was the other thing.
It's like, oh, how did you shoot on that course yesterday? And I was like, all right, guys.
I didn't even put my take on Twitter. So I didn't even get in a dogfight.
I
wasn't worked up about this take at all.
I threw it out there and then, well, the best one was I tweeted, like Brody said, they're doubling down on it. And I tweeted like jokingly, like, yeah, they're really coming after me right now. Like not alluding that they were literally reading my tweets.
Yeah.
And then somebody replied and said, what kind of person do you have to be to like, or what kind of like entitled person or something do you have to be to think that they're actually looking at your tweets? I'm like, come on, guys.
I was like the other day.
Like, I'm not doing that.
This is why we call the show Grip Locked, is because it goes off on tangents.
Oh my gosh, bro.
But the other day I said something, I said something about day law. No, I was looking for comments. Unrelated, you'll find out why later. But I was looking for comments for something, and I was looking at a video where I had talked about day law, and it was on this podcast. So like, if I'm talking to the podcast audience, I'm talking to friends. Like I'm just talking to people who regularly listen to our show. So I'm not going to explain my opinion on everything every time I talk. So we were talking about day law for the upteenth time, and I said a line of like, well, you know how I feel about day law, and then I went in to explain something new about my opinion on day law. Like right now, I'm not going to explain my day law take because you know how I feel about day law.
He knows.
And someone commented and was like, wow, like, guys, chill the frick out. They didn't say frick. Chill the frick out. Something along the lines of like, how famous do you think you are that everyone just knows your opinion on day law? Like, I have no idea. I have no idea who the F you even are.
You did it again, so you better be careful.
And I was like, I read it. We had clipped out the day law part. I read it. I was like laughing to myself because I was like, I mean, that's not at all where my head's at. I'm just like, I'm not. If I explained every take every time we're on this podcast, we'd be on here for 4 hours.
Well, and also the majority of the people that follow you on Twitter are probably people from that watch Grip
Well, also
Lock.
like
so it's
the majority of our audience is listening to this right now. Listens to the show enough that like if I say something, you know how I feel about day law. They've probably heard me talk about day law.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have
Can't
inside.
wait for the comments. I have no idea.
You gotta have inside bits too. I will say this: when I started listening to Pardon My Take back in the day, they had so many inside bits that I would have to research, but it worked out for them because then I end up researching their show more. But like they had,
then you become a bigger fan.
Then, yes, because then you're in on them.
Then you hear them say something,
and then you listen to one form, and you're like, oh my gosh, I am part of this.
Yeah,
so that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to cater.
We just need to make like an online.
Didn't we do that once with like our Heiser Club?
Like an inside thing.
We said something.
Oh yeah, what was
the
inside? Dang it! What was the joke?
I don't remember, but I remember on mailbag saying like, just so you're aware, when you hear us say this on Grip Lock, just act like you know what it is.
I think we did it.
We did, but I don't remember what it was at this point.
Anyways,
if you guys remember,
all right, Trevor's trivia.
Speaking of guessing what things are, we're bringing back an oldie today.
And today we're looking at the inside jokes of Grip Lock.
Yep. We're doing Who Am I's today. I've got an MPO one and an FPO one.
Wow, Konner, that was beautiful.
These are pretty difficult, maybe. So you guys can both guess. You guys can work together on this one.
Thank goodness.
I'm gonna read. It's gonna be like normal, where I'm gonna start reading the hints up until a certain point. only make a guess if you're certain because you only get one guess. And there's no
but
shame.
We can talk together.
There's also no shame in taking all the hints because like it's going to be tough no matter what. Yeah, you can converse. Okay, so this is the MPO player. I am from Hillsboro, Oregon. My first Pro Tour event was in 2021.
Let's slow down.
You got to start. You're going to make your final guess off of being from Oregon.
No, but let us just talk it through.
I was going to give you the first few that you could even insinuate anything.
Where my head's at right now is Scott Withers. Keep going.
Okay. My first Pro Tour event was in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm rated 1030.
Okay, let's pause. How are we feeling about Scott Withers?
I don't know.
I know he's in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if he's from Oregon, but I know he's got a lot of like Oregon ties. He's rated 1030.
You got quite a few more hints.
2021 though is the tough part because like when did Scott Withers start playing?
That's what I was wondering. I would have assumed before, but I don't know. I'm not basing that off of almost anything.
I've never won anything higher than a B tier.
Okay, keep going.
I have almost 35K in career earnings.
I mean, now that I have him in my head, everything's like, yeah, that would make sense. Keep going.
My best Pro Tour finish this year was at Waco.
Oh.
It's top 5.
Does that say anything to you?
Does it say anything to you?
A top 5 at Waco?
I just added that in there to help you out.
I don't know who the heck came top 5 at Waco.
Yeah, 2 more
Waco's
hits.
wacko.
Yeah.
I'm 35th in UDisc World Rankings.
35th, that means I could take someone. I could pick him as a dark horse.
The last hint will probably give it away. So I'll let you think on that a little bit.
First Pro Tour event in 2021. From Oregon. Konrad sneakily. I don't know if he's from Oregon. He's sneakily from the West Coast somewhere, I think. He might be from Utah, though.
He's sneaky from the West Coast?
Yeah, he's sneaky. he's an East Coast player, but he's from the West Coast. Do you want the last hint? I think
just go for it.
I play for DGA.
Yes, it's got to be Konrad.
All right, hit him with it.
It's Konrad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you got to it. You definitely got to it. Okay. FPO. I am from Morristown, Tennessee. My first Pro Tour was in 2020, and I'm rated 958.
I'm rated 958. Morristown, Tennessee. Okay, I got 2 players in my head, Konner. I don't know their ratings at all.
Hit me with them.
But I know Zach Melton and Macy Valadiaz. Listen.
Okay.
Zach Melton and Macy Valadiaz.
Okay.
Travel, hang out a lot together.
Yeah.
Zach Melton's from, I think it's Kingsport, Tennessee.
Yeah.
But Tennessee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Macy Valadiaz started probably around, which I think, what's her name now? Macy Walker, I think.
No, she is Macy Valadiaz now.
She was Macy Walker
before.
So she is Macy Valadiaz now.
Okay.
I don't know. I think my head's there, or because the other player, Caroline Henderson, I think is from Southeast somewhere, but I think she started playing way after that. I think she just started playing. All right, keep going.
I've won 4 A tiers, including a silver event.
She's won a silver event. Okay. Has Macy Valadiaz won a silver event?
I was about to ask you the same question.
Including a silver event. Why do I feel like she did? What's another player? Holland Handley could sneakily be in there. There's so many like of the up and coming. I feel like they're all from Tennessee. Once you say Tennessee, the whole FPO field's from Tennessee right now in my head. All right, I think I like Holland Handley or Macy Valadiaz. So let's keep going.
All right.
I've only finished outside the top 15 twice this season, taking 16th and 21st.
That means nothing to me.
Okay,
mean anything
next.
To you?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm ranked 18th in the UDisc World Rankings.
Does that mean anything to you?
Does it mean something to you?
Mm-mm.
The last one's going to give it away. So.
I'm leaning towards Macy Valadiaz, but let's just keep going.
All right.
Well, it's going to give it away. So do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of
Well,
course.
I play for Dynamic Discs.
Okay.
That's got to be Macy Valadiaz.
Yeah.
I locked in on that. Quick.
Yeah. That was
you should have committed
that one.
You should have committed.
I don't think
that was your first guess.
Well, you get all the hints and you still win. I'm just saying you could have got that like 4 hints in, and I would have been wildly impressed. Because the Zach Melton connection
he had
there,
it 3 hints in.
Yeah, that would have been very
I had it
impressive.
after you first stopped, but I was too scared.
Yeah.
I respect that.
I was scared of commitment.
I respect that.
That's okay. That was
Connor,
good.
you're about to start recording over something, by the way.
I think it's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Cole Redallen took me all the guesses.
You mind if I grip lock onto a quick Konner time story?
Yeah,
Story time Konner.
Sure thing.
This is a disc golf related story. On Saturday, I played disc golf. Okay, Gabby and I were supposed to go out of town for my birthday this weekend because my birthday's on Tuesday, but
Tomorrow.
we bought a house instead, so now we can't spend any money. But
Slight flex.
So instead, we went and played disc golf. First course we went to, Gabby was wearing her white Hokas, and it was too
Awful
muddy.
idea, yeah.
And it was too muddy, so we left. Then we went to Lynchburg College. We're walking on Lynchburg College, and I said, there's supposed to be a tournament at Lynchburg College, pretty soon-ish. I think is it this weekend? No, it's next. Is it this weekend or next weekend?
I think it's this week.
No idea.
Okay, it doesn't
I
matter.
didn't even know there was a tournament.
Yeah, there's a doubles tournament.
Right.
And I was like, maybe they've done maybe they at least mowed or something there. They didn't. Just a heads up.
Yeah,
They
shocker.
didn't. We should not film there. But it was the worst I'd seen it because it also rained a lot. Hole 3, the grass was up to my knees.
Nice.
Like it was bad. So we're walking, and Gabby's always terrified on every single disc golf course ever that there's snakes everywhere.
Yeah.
And in her defense, we've probably seen out of the years of us filming, how many snakes have we seen? Maybe.
Do you include
4?
the pit of?
Okay, true. There was
water
the pit
moccasins.
of literally Indiana Jones
In my
snakes
career
everywhere.
playing disc golf, for 10 years, I swear I've probably seen 5 snakes.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
look, one time we were playing at Fallen Creek, and Gabby was like, "Are there snakes out here?" I was like, "I've never seen a snake at Fallen Creek. There's no snakes out here." We walk over to the bridge on that one hole, and there's like a 5-foot copperhead on the bridge.
Nice.
And I'm like, "Oh," but anyway, so we're walking. We're on hole 4, the
Downhill,
the
big
downhill hole. And she's like, "Konner, I'm scared to walk through this grass. There's snakes in here." I was like, "The snakes aren't just gonna be hanging out in the grass." I was like, "They don't." And she was like, "They're not gonna be sunbathing." I was like, "They don't sunbathe in the grass. They'll be sunbathing on a log or sunbathing on a rock. The only reason they're in the grass is to get from one side of the woods to the other side of the woods. They're not gonna be in the fairway." We're walking, and I take a step, and as I'm stepping, I look down between my legs, literally between my feet as I'm walking, is a 4-foot snake, like just right in between my legs. And so I take a couple steps, and she's like 5 feet behind me. I'm like, "Stop! Don't walk! There's a snake!" Literally 20 seconds before this, whenever she was saying, "I don't want to walk in this grass. There's gonna be snakes." And I was like, "There's not
She's
gonna be
never
snakes
going to
in the
another
grass."
disc golf course again.
She's having a breakdown. Like, she is crying, she is screaming, and this snake is terrified of her. It is booking it. It's like, what this lady is about to eat me is what this snake
Was it
thinks.
just a black snake?
No, so it was a garter snake.
Yeah, okay.
So it had the long yellow stripes down its
Yeah.
back, and she was like, "What is it?" I was like, it's just a garter snake. It's not a big deal. Like, it's not venomous or anything." And she was like, "I need you to come get me. I need you to come get me right now." She's like 5 feet from me. She's like, "Where is it? Where is it?" She immediately assumes that there are snakes everywhere, all around her. I don't know how this happens, but I end up, there's a group of people behind us. We probably look ridiculous. I'm literally holding her hand, just pulling her through the grass because I'm like, if I've already walked there, then you're good, which was not a good argument considering I just walked over top of a snake without seeing it. And so yeah, I am very surprised because I was ready. I was like, okay, let's just walk back to the tee pad and leave. For some reason, we finished the course. We were only on hole 4. I don't know how. It took us so long because we had to plan out every single step. But it was hilarious. It literally 20
That is
seconds.
so funny.
The only time I've ever seen snakes on the disc golf course is when we're filming. I've played so much disc golf by myself, and I never see snakes.
Yeah.
Never.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely was acting very calm, but it is not a good feeling whenever you step over top. It was a big snake too.
Yeah,
it was a big, and you just look
boy.
down and there's a snake in between your legs.
How did you?
Now,
Well,
it wasn't.
Like
It wasn't like
at Nationals, Chili Philly got bit by a snake.
Well, he picked
What?
it up.
Yeah, and then he like tells us, and he was like trying to be calm, but he was freaking out a little bit. And he was like, "Yeah, I picked up a snake and it bit me." And then just like, he's like, I think I'm gonna be fine. I don't know what type of snake it was. And his buddy's like, "Yeah, I got a picture." He goes, "You had a picture of the snake this whole time?" And then he showed us a picture. He goes, "Dude, why didn't you show me that forever ago? That's not a venomous snake. I'm fine." So I guess he was sitting there thinking like, "Am I about to die? I don't know."
That's hilarious. Yeah,
but he picked it up.
He
That's
lived
how
in
he
my
got
dream.
bit.
Yeah,
I'd love to
yeah,
get
yeah.
bit by a non-venomous snake for content.
but I don't want to know.
Like
I want to
after
just
the
be
fact.
walking and get bit I
wouldn't like. It's not like Teddy if you're like, you want to get bit today. Would I say yes? No. I wouldn't.
No.
But like if it happened after the fact and it was non-venomous and like we knew for sure it was not, I'd be like, that was amazing, great content.
Yeah, I got
like,
bit by a
like
snake.
Sure, that hurt, but like, what a video.
I don't know. Getting bit by
Trevor
a snake
got bit by a snake. 911 called. Like
I don't think getting bit by a snake would hurt that bad.
I've heard it. It wouldn't feel good.
If
and that's coming from you, needle boy.
But the thing is, with a needle, they're holding it in front of you, and you're watching them put it into your skin. That's different than if you're just walking. To you, it's gonna feel like you just get hit by something.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna turn around and you're like, I just got
bit.
bit by a snake. If you didn't know it was happening, you wouldn't have thought anything.
Depends on the snake too, because some snakes have really small fangs. And it would not be that big of a deal.
I think it would happen so fast that even if it was big fangs, you wouldn't even
like
real.
the Dunapay snake strike putt.
I don't know, dude. There's
Yeah.
some big snakes out there that like if their fangs go into you, like that's gonna suck. Like it's not.
No, they don't suck. They don't suck the blood. They just,
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's snake talk.
All right. Well, you know what? I think I might push the standings topic to next week because it's not going to change. There's no tournament this weekend. So I think I'm going to do that. We're just going to go over our power rankings, see if there's any adjustments that need to be made here. Now, we didn't update them post WR Jackson, post Champions Cup either. Yeah. So we have to factor that in.
We got some work to do.
Mainly because Sir Isaac Robinson's not in the top 10.
He's got to squeeze in.
Calvin Heimberg, number 1, done. Leave it. Gannon Burr, number 2. How we feel?
It's probably fine for now because Eagle. It's probably fine for now.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Because there are some other guys that did not take their opportunity. Like
we have Simon Lizotte 3.
Gosh, this is going to be complex.
And we have Eagle McMahon at 6. Between Simon and Eagles, Paul and Ricky. I think Simon's still above Paul and Ricky. Ricky can probably even keep slipping because he's not playing.
Maybe we jump Eagle
Do we
to
like
3?
Eagle to 3?
Yeah, let's do
I
that.
like that.
Yeah. Good performance from Eagle.
Back-to-back second places from Eagle.
Yeah.
The 2 weeks we don't have him. Okay. Simon Lizotte 4. I feel like he might have to slip a little bit.
Yeah, he had a pretty...
Because I don't think he had a great WR Jackson showing either, did he?
No,
Let's
not
pull that
100%.
up.
Paul might jump Simon,
Champions
actually.
Cup. PDGA Champions Cup. Scores.
I think Paul might
Oh,
jump.
why am I on this site? Oh, well. Sir Lizotte, where are you? 26th. And Paul Macbeth.
Oh, Paul was worse than that? Was he?
No. 48th at Champions Cup.
What? Is that real? I don't think that's real.
That's real. Wait, how did we not talk about that?
Because I thought for some reason it was like he took like a mid-20s.
2023.
Why did we miss that?
That can't be right.
Maybe, I mean...
Okay, no. That was round 1. He was in 48th after round 1.
I was going to say...
He finished 20th. Everyone calm down.
I was like,
wow. That
what
was a
the
roller
heck?
coaster of emotions. He finished in 20th. What happened was when I searched Champions Cup online, just a backstory, took me to PDGA's website. Never used it. This is their PDGA Live website, not their actual PDGA site. So it was just on round 1, which was confusing because Isaac Robinson was still in the lead. So that's why I didn't notice anything weird. Okay, but important to note, Simon Lizotte still beat Paul. He finished 13th. Paul finished 20th.
Okay, so Paul doesn't jump him.
So I think we leave Simon, leave Paul. Do we bump Rick down? Rick's at 6. There's no telling when this dude's playing.
Yeah, probably going to have to... At this point, we're going to have to ghost him pretty soon.
I think we move Rick down to 10th.
We have to IR that boy. Yeah, sure.
Because, I mean, how do we know how good he is?
Yeah, it's not really fair to the rest of the field, guys.
It's not fair, guys.
Come on, guys.
Okay. So now that puts Kyle Klein 6, James Proctor 7, Ezra Aderhold 8, Anthony Burrell 9,
Check out the Proctor
Ricky,
because
10.
I think he had a bad Champions Cup.
Let's go Statmando, and let's go ahead and go head-to-head MPO for this year. We're going to go Isaac Robinson to the proctologist.
Let's do a little bit of a proctology check here. What do they call those?
Colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy. Let's do a colonoscopy on the proctologist here. See what we're looking at.
So he's 5-3 against Isaac Robinson.
Well, Isaac Robinson's only emerged for like the last 3 events, I would say.
So he smoked him at Vegas, smoked him at Waco, smoked him at Open at Austin, silver event. The Texas States I was about to use. Beat him at Music City, lost to him quite handedly at a silver event, but then came 36th, Champions Cup, 11th, played again.
He's definitely, it's
Proctor's
trending.
still a top 10 player.
Yeah.
So
Isaac Robinson's trending. I think Isaac Robinson can jump him because he won a major.
yes, I think we go Isaac Robinson 7th in the world.
Yeah.
Should we go Isaac Robinson, Kyle Klein? Just to make sure we're not.
Kyle Klein's been pretty solid.
I think Kyle Klein's been solid all year.
He didn't have a great finish this past
He's 5-3. Yeah, he finished 18th and then came in 5th at Jonesboro.
We can probably keep Kyle.
I think we
where he
keep
is.
Kyle where
Kyle
he
has
is.
been like very dependable this
So
season.
I think we put Isaac Robinson. So that means someone's got to be bumped.
It's probably going to
Ezra
be
or AB.
Ezra or AB. Low key, Ezra has been doing okay though.
Let's go Ezra versus AB.
Well, he wasn't at Champions Cup.
That's true.
That's-
do we
that's-
bump him for not knowing when to register?
Might
Does
have
he lose
to.
responsibility points?
Ezra's 3-2 against AB this year. AB, they just came 13th.
That's
and 15th.
the thing, though. I think we have to keep Ezra because he's been so good this
Ezra's
season.
been good every time he's played.
He's been so
What did AB do
consistent.
at Champions Cup?
It just said, didn't he?
No, because he's not on that because they didn't both play that event. He came 13th.
It's tough, man. AB's resume is pretty good too.
The flaw on AB's resume is a 51st at the Open at Austin.
Let's penalize him for it.
PDGA, Ezra, Aderhold. Let's just look at Ezra's season. Okay, 2023. Ezra did come 72nd at Waco, but then he went 6, 6, 11, and then he just came what?
13th.
13th.
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Your call.
Make that
I
call.
think we give
Bring
it to
back.
Ezra.
All right, we're gonna give it to Ezra. We're gonna sink for Ezra.
I'm gonna reward.
That felt
I'm
biased.
gonna reward AB. You think I'm
Oh,
not biased
true.
towards
Never
AB? I'm gonna go ahead and reward consistency there a little bit, but there's a lot of guys that are on the chopping block.
All right, we have Calvin 1, Gannon 2, Eagle 3, Simon 4, Paul 5, Kyle Klein 6, Isaac Robinson 7, James Proctor 8, Ezra Aderhold 9, Ricky Wysocki 10.
Goated.
That's our top 10 right now.
Goated.
If Ricky doesn't come back soon, he's gone.
Risky
FPO,
Wysocki.
FPO, I think we got some interesting ones to tackle here.
my
Kristen
gosh.
1, Cat 2, Paige 3, Holland 4, Ella 5.
Well, Haley King is gonna sneak her way into this probably.
And Cat Merch just won, but I don't think Cat's been having that good of a season, so I don't think
Yeah.
we need to
Well,
worry
we gotta
about
take
that.
a look at that. We definitely gotta
I'm
take
looking at
a
it.
look at it to see if she can squeeze in. Because like, isn't Ella in right now? She probably
Ella's in right now.
She might beat out Ella.
You know what? I should probably just go to Statmando. So Cat Merch's season so far, she has she went 34th at Vegas, 8th at Waco, 11th Open at Austin, 8th at a silver event, 24th at Music City, 3rd at Champions Cup, and then 1.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
Let's go FPO here. And let's go Cat Merch to Hanson Ella.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Compare. Ella is 4-2 against her, but Cat does have a win.
And she's won the last two against her.
She has won the last 2 against her.
I'm leaning towards we go with Kat because she's trending up. Ella hasn't really made
Okay.
any noise here.
And we can
a
go
little bit.
Cat Merch 5th.
Let's compare.
We don't have Owen Scoggins in here.
Yeah, that kind of seems like a shame because she's like number 2 in the world right now.
Let's go Owen Scoggins compared to Katrina Allen for this
She
season.
probably dominates people.
4-2.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
over
think
Katrina
Owen not
Allen.
being on there is kind of
Owen
a crime.
Scoggins probably should be the second best player in the world.
Well, she is according to UDisc. The problem is she doesn't win and she can't win. I firmly believe that Owen Scoggins
Let's go
cannot
Holland
win.
Hanley versus Katrina Allen. Well, it doesn't matter if no one else is winning.
You got a point there.
I mean, Katrina Allen's barely beating out Holland Hanley.
So we
I think, here's what I think we
we
do.
bumping out Holland.
We might bump out Paige Pierce.
Oh my gosh. 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 Probably should because if not
They're
now,
2-2. Paige Pierce versus Holland Hanley.
see ya.
2-2.
Chief.
And Paige went 27-29.
Let's get
the
her out
last
of there.
two. I
See
think
ya.
Paige Pierce is out of the
She
top
won't
5.
be back for like a month anyways, probably.
And
So
I think Owen Scoggins gets put in at second.
which is hilarious because it was just like we forgot about her apparently.
I think it goes Kristen Tatar, Owen Scoggins, Katrina Allen, Holland Hanley, Cat Merch.
Love it. Love it.
I like that.
Love it.
All right, there you go. That's Grip Lock this week. That's the power rankings. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode. We'll be back same time, same place next week to talk about whatever the heck goes down this week. See you then.
What the heck?